Thank you very much, Director General, who's also the Program Director of our event today. Let me take this opportunity, of course, to acknowledge the Honorable MEC and DGS, just that is the Provincial Minister of Mpumalanga, branching from the box, and we must welcome you because we're really honored that your first international event, you are doing it with us. So we are quite honored as the development group, of course, that you are here with us today. Honorable Sidel, let me take this opportunity, of course, and also acknowledge the presence of the CEO of DPSA as well, Ms. Buntle Mosako. And also let me take this opportunity, of course, to acknowledge all the other heads of delegations that are here, the heads of international financial institutions and representatives from private sector, most especially the private sector here at home. I've heard that there are people from banks such as Absa. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the beautiful Mpumalanga, one of the most beautiful game reserves that you can ever have in the world, and I think it is one of the biggest in Africa. I'm honored, of course, to welcome you here this morning at Kruger National Park for the 4th Development Working Group meeting of South Africa's G20 Presidency. And it's with profound sense of purpose that this meeting takes place in one of Africa's largest national parks, as I've already said, which distinguishes our nation's rich natural and archaeological heritage and our commitment to sustainable practices. This meeting takes place ahead of the DWG ministerial meeting that will take place from the 24th to the 25th of July. Therefore, this week is crucial for the advancement of the shared commitment to confront the global development challenges of our time. This week we gather not just as ministers, officials, and multilateral representatives, but also as stewards of common ambition to building a world which progress does not bypass the most vulnerable. A decade has passed since our heads of state endorsed a bold roadmap for humanity's future, which is the 2030 agenda. That vision, forged in the spirit of collective responsibility and interdependence, now faces its toughest test. As reaffirmed in the past summit, notably in Rio de Janeiro, the G20 is uniquely placed to respond to the vast and interlinked crises shaping our world, from economic instability and environmental peril. In this spirit, we echo the long-standing dedication of the Development Working Group, which since 2016 has championed a people-centered development model rooted in the justice, sustainability, and resilience. Distinguished delegates, our first imperative is to, first of all, to prioritize the foundation of inclusive well-being. This means establishing strong and permanent safety nets for all. Social protection must be seen not as charity, but as a cornerstone of development through fostering economic vitality, societal unity, and gender parity. The agency to take action is underscored by the current unacceptable and persistent global gender disparities. For example, according to the UN women on average earn 20% less than their male counterparts. Globally, over 2.4 or 2.7 billion women are legally restricted from having the same choices of jobs as their male counterparts. And nearly 60% of women's employment globally is in the informal economy, while in low-income countries or income countries, it is more than 90%. This means that women are overrepresented in informal and vulnerable employment. We call for universal access to these systems, guided by international commitments and national ambition. Such efforts must support broader transition, whether to low carbon industries, fair labor markets, or gender equal economies, while acknowledging and fairly compensating invisible care work and extending protection to those who have been historically excluded. We emphasize that these efforts must largely be supported by a country's own fiscal capabilities. Yet we recognize that innovative financing mechanisms and international solidarity have a vital role to play, particularly in helping nations navigate moments to fiscal strains and external shocks. Secondly, we turn our attention to the lifeblood of development, which is public finance. Strengthening domestic resources capacity is non-negotiable. It begins with fair, efficient, and transparent tax system. It also requires resolute action to stop the loss of wealth through illicit financial flows. We endorse the wealth of outcomes of the fourth international conference of financing for development and to commit to the actions it outlines, which includes empowering governments to raise and widely spend revenue, curbing financial opacity, and to also ensuring global tax norms reflect the needs of all and most especially to those of the developing countries. The scourge of IFFS undermines trust, drains essential funds, and destabilizes economies, both in origin and in destination. We urge all partners to embrace comprehensive measures such as automatic data sharing, robust beneficial ownership registries, digital identity tracking, and capacity building for law enforcement and financial regulators alike all over and globally. Only by shining light into this shadowy corners of the financial systems can we hope to finance sustainable futures and ensure that all nations and most especially developing countries have got the ability to mobilize domestic resources. Let us be candid, ladies and gentlemen, and honorable guests as well as distinguished delegates. The international community is not on track. The most recent process review of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals paints a sobering picture with only 17% of accessible or accessible SDG targets on track to be achieved by 2030. Targets lag behind and time is running out. Environmental degradation, economic shocks, debt distress, hunger, and conflict has also deepened. This resource gap now spends trillions annually. Bridging that divide demands action, creativity, but definitely unity that will definitely symbolizes a collective responsibility that goes together with collective benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegate, we must reimagine how the world responds to problems that ignore borders. Our era is defined by shared risk, be they pandemics, climate volatility, or technological disruption. Addressing this calls for a new era of cooperation. Global public goods must be treated as a collective responsibility, governed inclusively and supported equitably. We are encouraged by the proposal in the chairperson text that calls for fresh initiative to define principle guiding the fair provision and governance of these goods. Among the emerging ideas are strengthen multilateral order, transparent decision making, differentiated yet shared obligations, and the smart use of technology and innovation. In conclusion, honorable members, distinguished delegates, your excellencies, I reiterate the call I have made in the previous development working group meeting for every delegation to ensure that this meeting pushes forward action and definitely change. As you continue your deliberation today and throughout this whole week, I would like to wish you a productive and successful meeting. I encourage you to be reminded of the overarching theme of South Africa's G20 presidency, which is solidarity, equality, and sustainability, which brings us all together and emphasize our commitment to foster collective action in building a better and sustainable world and together addressing global development challenges. I wish you a productive, as I've already said, G20 working group, and I look forward to joining you at Kruger National Park. I hope that you will go around and enjoy our country and be able to also see some of our most beautiful animals. I think it will be the big five, most especially because during now in winter, this is where you actually would see the best of the best because this is the time where the animals actually comes out. Please enjoy yourselves, stay safe, and I'll definitely be seeing you when I come on the 24th to the 25th during the ministerial meeting. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks very much, Minister. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Minister has underscored what we were trying to say yesterday, that the decisions we are taking are not only about today, they are also about tomorrow. And that even the difficult issues that we encounter will arise along the way. Nothing disappears in the realm of ideas. So we need to be flexible where necessary, knowing that this is not just about ourselves, but it's also about future generations. Having said that, I will invite Mr. Bartholomew Amang from NEPAD to come and render an African thank you, marking the closure of this session. We've been saying that this is an African outfit, so I invite him to come on stage to talk to us in closure representing our own continent. Over to you, sir. Okay, he's on his way. Please come through. So he has been with us. He needs no introduction. He has been participating, minister from NEPAD, so that we can close this session. Okay, a round of applause. He has been working for...
Thank you, and it is indeed a pleasure to have this opportunity to close this session of the event, especially after our very exciting braai last night, for those of you who were there. For me, it was a very exciting and exhilarating moment, not only a chance to commiserate and have discussions with all of you, but also to feel the presence of being in a forest while at the same time trying to have fun. But really, on a more serious note, on behalf of the delegates, the NEPAD, African Union Development Agency, really would like to extend our warm thanks to the South African Presidency for hosting this event. I mean, it's ever since we started the process, it's been an exciting balance between serious work, hospitality, and flexibility on the part of our hosts. We'd like to thank you for your warm hospitality and leadership in steering the work of the Development Working Group. And also to express our hope that as we embark on the last mile in our negotiations, the same spirit of flexibility, compromise, and vision continues. In particular, I think that your presidency has been quite bold in putting forward key issues that touch at the heart of Africa's development. Social protection is critical for ensuring that the least economically empowered people are not left behind. Illicit financial flows touch at the heart of domestic resource mobilization. And for me, I liken that to the process of filling a bucket with resources, but the bucket has so many holes at the bottom. And those illicit financial flows reflect those leakages that undermine the very ability of countries to mobilize resources. Of course, it is important that these resources are effectively used. So we need to tackle both the issue of domestic resource mobilization addressing leakages through illicit financial flows, and ensuring a more effective allocation and use of resources. But I think the most bold effort in all these initiatives has been the issue of global public goods. Notwithstanding contestations about definitional issues, I think issues of climate change, the pandemic and its external effects on all countries really bring to the fore the need for collaboration to address common challenges and to promote goods and activities that have a positive impact on all societies and communities. So putting this on the table is really a critical first step in this discussion, and we hope that at the end of these discussions, we move from conceptualization discussions into action. So we look forward to a successful negotiation of the documents and urge that the outcomes lead to concrete results. So on behalf of the CEO of the African Union Development Agency, I'd like to express a warm thank you, and we look forward to the next steps in this process. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, dear brother, for the message that comes from all of us on the African continent with a shared destiny where we're going. So having said that, Honorable Minister, I will request to disband this current session so that the favorite chairperson of the DWG can take over and proceed with the next stage of the deliberations. The MEC will take leave. We have other meetings to have outside of here with some stakeholders. So we'll ask to take leave as the chairperson rises to take over her responsibilities. Over to you, chairperson, as we take leave. Thank you.
Hi, colleagues, good morning. We move straight now to the next session, which is being Tonji. Yeah. Tonji, may the guests move up, please come through. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you. We'll begin in about 2 minutes as Tonji settles her guests.